Hello, everybody. My name is Walter Bennett. I'm the mayor of Village of Waterloo, and I wanted to put together a little video to put a whole bunch of information out there since a lot of things are happening in the village right now, and we don't get a lot of participation and/or attendance at the village meetings. I'm going to go in order here on a whole bunch of things that people have questions about and/or have some information that may or may not be true, and see if we can answer some of those questions for you guys and help alleviate any confusion. Firstly, so that you can shut this off if none of the other stuff matters to you, is the DRI. Waterloo was rewarded from the state a $10 million grant for downtown revitalization. The list of projects that was put out by the Finger Lakes Times were the projects on the application. That is not a final list of projects for the DRI. We could probably say that those projects were the projects that helped us win. Since then, funding has shifted. Canals has on some of those projects. Maybe the building owner has realized that the potential income feasibility of whatever they were planning is not feasible, so they're going to do something else. New projects will be coming in from people who are within the footprint, the downtown area. The canals has come through with some projects that they would like to do, and there was a lot of canal projects on that application. And so that is really, this whole thing starts over. Before I go in much further on the process as I understand it, I would like to thank the WEDC, that is the Waterloo Economic Development Committee, that is chaired by Joe Spazzato. This has been their baby for the last 5 years. If you have opinions on the direction that application should have gone or anything like that, unfortunately, I got to say the last 5 years was your opportunity. And I do give them much thanks for that. The What can the $10 million be used for? It really is in the name. It is downtown revitalization. There is no way in which infrastructure is taken into account with this money. It is just part of the rules and guidelines. I'm going to start with the footprint on this thing. We're not going to put out a map because I would encourage anyone outside of the general footprint that I'm about to give you to apply, because in the scenario in which we don't spend all $10 million, maybe we'll move one way or the other or pick another project that is nice. So I don't want to lock us in. But generally, the footprint, if you were to start from the post office, goes west to Church Street, or east to Church Street, I'm sorry, goes north to William Street with a cutout for the library. It goes south to the south side of the canal, that 8-acre parcel that is owned by Canal Corp and used to be a DOT dumping ground or a garage or something like that. It goes north, I already said north, and it goes west to the old Cardinelli's, or you could think the front of the Lafayette Apartments. What do you do now? If you are in that footprint or you own any property in downtown, there will be a general call for projects from the LPC, the local planning committee, and I'll get to them in a second. You should now, while you're waiting for that general call of projects, possibly talk to your bank, make sure that you have funding for this, because it is a reimbursed grant. So bridge loans, all those sort of things. Get any quotes that you want to get done now, some designs, some drawings, bullet points of the things that you would like changed. There is a fund in there. It's been changed in the past from $300,000 to $600,000, $900,000, who knows, where small things are funded at a much higher rate, upwards of, I believe, 75%, and that could be just for your painting or your awnings or whatever, or change out a window, something like that. What the threshold is that takes you out of there to the priority projects that are funded at 50%. I don't know what that threshold is. Those guidelines have, I don't believe, been presented to me yet. If you have any more questions on this, I encourage you to either comment on this video or call into the office, or I'm in the office every day in the morning, and we can try to get those questions answered for you. The local planning committee. If you believe you have heard who is on that local committee, I assure you, you are wrong. I am the only person in the world who knows what names were sent to the state for consideration. That said, Sending them to the state for consideration is all I can do. They have the final say on who they are. It will be a committee of 11 to 15 people, including myself, a regional rep from the Finger Lakes Economic Development Committee, and I believe a state person from the Department of State, and a consultant that they hire for us. So they have already scratched some names. They've already asked me to reach out to people from different niches than I had thought of. But that list is not final, and only I know who was on it. So if you've heard names, it's wrong. I think I hit everything I wanted to do on that. Just get your ducks in a row. In April, there will be a general call for projects, and the consultant will help you with anything that you're missing to get it done to be considered by the DRI. As I understand it from conversations with other people, if you were picked as a priority project from the committee and the state still does not want to fund it out of the DRI, you are launched to the top of other grant applications. So it would behoove you to get that in for consideration. I'm going to move on to water rates. A lot of talk about that. I think if people came to the village meetings once in a while, they would have a lot more information on this. The gist of the water rate increase to our wholesale customers. I don't believe the retail rate has come out yet, but the wholesale rate has, and it has made news all over the place. It did increase 16%, which, just so everyone knows, is $35 a year for the average customer and $3 a month. The reason for that is a $12.7 million water quality project that was approved, I think, 5 years ago. That is coming due. The project is now all but done. The water tower, as you may have seen, a whole new building and a whole new GAC filtration system at the water treatment plant in Fayette. Some main lines, some interconnections with other municipalities. All of those things were considered to get us the rates at which this bond was done at. Sometimes they want a little more here and there to get you a 0% low interest or whatever rate. So there is more than just the tank and the water treatment plant. Why was that project done? Several years ago, PFAS was already on the radar of our water manager, one of the best in the area, well known, often deferred to at meetings of water authority people around the area. And he saw this as a potential problem going forward. The area of Seneca County as a whole is rife with this contamination because of the Army depot. We a little less so up here in the village. But we did take this on as a supplier of water to many people around here. I don't think I disagree with the idea to do that project. I think this will be mandatory from the state very soon, and we just happen to be ahead of the ball on that. With these new projects comes a reassessment on the taxes of the water treatment plant. Yes, you heard that right. We pay taxes to Fayette, the county, and the school on our water treatment plant. It is currently in the ballpark, don't hold me to this, $220,000 a year before the year even starts. We're in the hole on that, and it will be reassessed, and we're estimating it'll be $280,000. We did put in for a pilot for that so that at least it wouldn't get reassessed. Somewhere along the line that fell apart, so we are not qualifying for the pilot. But that is what it is. I think you should probably also thank the previous board and administrations for doing this when they did. That $12 million project is being approved elsewhere in the state, upwards of 20-some $million, and they are getting grant funding for it, but still only bringing them down around to where we are. And, I didn't mean to diminish the $3 a month. I hate tax raises as much as the next person, but I do want to let you know that we're not quitting on this. The fact that we pay taxes bothers me to no end. I think about it often, think about what loopholes there are. The fact of the matter is that higher entities, municipal entities can come in here, buy up a property, and immediately falls off tax rolls. Nonprofits like the schools over in Geneva, they can buy up an apartment building and it falls off tax roll. Is there something we can do there? and so we're working on that. Uh, if you do want water rates to stabilize in the future on all of these things, I am a proponent of the water authority that the county has looked into. If you want that to move forward faster, or you have any thoughts on it, and you're a village resident, I would say Bob Shipley, Mike Enslow, and Don Trout are the people to ask on that and get their buy-in and get some movement there at the county level. Other than those three, we as a village don't have any seat on the county business. That's it for water rates. I think I hit everything I wanted to on that. It is not something I had any real control over with. The math that went into that was actuary level. If you want to talk about it, I could try to explain it. But the fact of the matter is the debts are coming due and they got to be paid. If you have thoughts on whether that project should have been done, again, please come to meetings because that was decided a long time ago. The 2% local law that was just passed, so that we could potentially go over 2% in April when the budget is passed if we wanted to. Please don't read too much into that. That is a formality so that if something over the next 30 days was to break and it had to go into next year's budget, the fact of the matter is that about $120,000 is 2% of our budget. We have cost of living raises that we would like to do for employees. Everything costs more now than it does. The supervisors and Don and them may hate me for saying this, but I believe, and I think I'm right, that most, if not all, departments came in at or under budget this year, but that's not always sustainable. So I think we're good. There is no desire to raise taxes, definitely not more, but it's a formality in case something happens in the next 30 days. So those are the two big ones that everybody has thoughts on. They think they have information on. They have questions about, and I hope that I alleviated most of those. Very soon in your water bill, if you are eligible or need a meter replacement, you are going to get asked as well to set an appointment. And our water distribution team is, for the summer, mixing up their hours to accommodate everyone who's working. And they are going to ask you to call and make an appointment. We'll be probably available, I believe the letter says 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We may have to line up a couple to make it worth our time and not just killing the guys. If you're available only on Saturdays, we'll try to line up 5 of those in a row and maybe comp the guys a time here or there so they come in. Please answer that. Please make an appointment. We have a lead survey, and that's the reason this is so important, that the state has mandated to be done. We're in the last 6 months of that. We've had a little more time than this to do it. We've gotten 500, I think, done now. And we would need to at least hit 1,000 for best effort was done, and we don't get fined. When this audit is done, changes that need to be made because of that will be coming down. I think we'll have 10 years to do those changes. But that is something that I really hope when you get that letter, because you need a meter replacement, please make an appointment to get that meter replaced and let us take stock of the service that you have. Drainage. So, while it may not look like we do a whole lot on drainage, it is coming. It is being done. I think the last thing anyone would want us to do is spend money on a drainage project that doesn't work. So a lot of these things have to be studied. The state is offering money for out-of-the-box ideas on this stuff. We actually think we're pretty good set up for two ideas on the west side, one on the east side, to stem the bleeding or the flooding when large rain events like happened early April last year. My first day on the job, that was fun. There are some places that are historically a problem. I don't know all the answers to those right now, but it largely comes down to the speed at which government works. We are trying to get all of those studies done, find the funding for them, and get moving on them. So that is how drainage is. I believe on the west side, our two ideas for the back of the village office and up north by the school should clear up the west side immensely. The east side, I'm a little less familiar with. I think the ideas were a little easier to grasp on the west side. So on the east side, I think we're going to be doing a lot up north to just stem how much run is coming down towards 5 and 20 before it hits the canal. But that'll be include catch ponds, gabion ideas and stuff like that. Just replacing the storm sewers is not enough, and it is not sexy at the state to fund that. Second to last here is the campus. Got some ideas or some questions on that because it came out of left field for many of you that we were thinking of something like this, something as grandiose as this, and how are we going to pay for something like that? So I'll give you a little bit of history, a little bit of what we investigated, and what we ultimately came up with. Let's start at the fire department. We were gifted from Seneca Meadows enough money to buy a fire truck. Contrary to popular belief, we did not buy an oversized fire truck that doesn't fit. Many years ago, looking towards the future was not taken into account. We had smaller fire trucks than our neighbors or than was common, and we built our firehouse to house those small fire trucks. They are not easily found these days, and they are expensive to build. So we bought a normal fire truck, and now we have to house it. The fire department and some grant writers and ourselves are going after a grant for a new bay on the firehouse to house the current fire truck. But again, looking towards the future, our other fire truck is over 20 years old, I believe. I give the fire department much props for doing what they do for us and our neighbors in the ancient technology that they have. So there is also some needs for buildings on the DPW side. So if we were to move the firehouse to a new area, DPW would use that building next to them, and we could probably maybe get rid of Reed Street or sell it, put it back on the tax roll, whatever. That's all for the future to figure out if we do get a new firehouse built. The other problem that we were tackled was this building that I'm sitting in right now, the Village Hall and Police Department. I was asked to paint the Village Hall, and as I drive in here every day, I start to come around to spending that money because it is in dire need of a facelift. However, you soon learn that several years ago, pre-COVID, a study was done on the condition of this building, and it is not good. It is not safe to drive in anymore, as our police often did or do. And there was a fire many years ago, and not all of the beams were replaced. There is water damage, mold, all sorts of things going on, to the point where we've since studied several times the cost to fix the basement, the cost to temporarily stabilize the basement, and they were astronomical. We are now saying, let's get out of here, let's put this back on the tax roll, sell it to a developer who qualifies for much more government money than we do, and let's move out of here. Now the village office can stay in downtown and move to a storefront, some sort of meeting, have our meeting somewhere else. We could go where the campus office is, all of that stuff to be decided as the studies come back. So I went around to so there are needs and requirements for our fire department and our police department to stay up with certifications and all those things with the state. One of those being a sally port. It's the one that stuck in my mind. So we have to be able to go pull in, shut the doors, pull a suspect out, not have them run into the street and fight whatever those things happen in a sally port. So I went around to every empty gas station around. Problems you have there are contamination, brownfield type stuff. Are they selling? Does it do the other things that we have to have? And I ran out of ideas. Whether we build new, raise a building, build new, retrofit a building, and make it work for us, those costs also became quite extraordinary. So when you talk about raising monies for these things, if we were to go to the biggest players in the village, or even some of our neighbors, big players in the town of Waterloo, think the biggest businesses around as you drive, if we were to ask them to help us with this, I think it would be a lot easier to get them to put their name on something that was new rather than fixing our basement. So I went with, let's find an architect to do something big, bold, and beautiful, and with those renderings, run around and become a salesman and get it paid for. The fact of the matter is, if that fundraising is not successful, we've got to do something. So with these studies from the architects and the engineers come back that you can do 7 concrete gray bays lined up somewhere, and that's all we can afford, we may have to do it because we have to do something. So that is my plan there. Where the location, I think the paper I don't know where they got their information. They were a little cavalier with the location because fact of the matter is I didn't ask anybody if they would gift that to us, if they would give that to us, if they could give it to us for $1, lease it, whatever. So while it is in my mind a good location, it's a little premature. So I will be having conversations with the county, with the landfill, with the ambulance, with whoever on where this place makes sense. And it may make sense that we do 2 separate things to somewhere else. I don't know. I know some people had questions on why I went with MRB. I chose them because they recently acquired an architecture firm who came to me with a large portfolio of projects like this. And I thought having an engineer and an architect in the same building could only benefit us. So that's the campus. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. We are very early on in that. The programming meetings, as they call them, where they talk to the chiefs of each department, talk to us, go through the law and find out what is mandatory, get a list of wants versus needs for a minimal viable project to what we would love to see. I would like to see a memorial to first responders. I would like to see the fire department being able to pull through. All those things are going to be on there as things that we would like to see, but maybe we don't have to do. And we'll be able to line item this as funding comes through or doesn't come through. I don't want to lock myself into there won't be a dime that the village pays on this because we might just be that close to something and we might need to bond it. But I hope that if I tell everybody we're that close that we can now get everybody on board to go out and fundraise. The last thing is William Street. There's a lot of people would like to see William Street Park cleaned up, that one to the north side of Lafayette Apartments. We don't own that yet. Word of mouth, verbal handshake, whatever agreement that we will. It's just complicated. The railroad has a stake in there. I believe the NYSEG Power Company has a stake in there. A lot of paperwork to find from years ago on who owns it and who does what with it. But when we do, I believe the plan for William Street is just a general rehab for now, fixing fences, painting apparatus, and all those sort of things. Several people have been asked to help on that. People who have expressed interest and they didn't want to help when they were asked on it. So I hope that they relax on it a little bit if you didn't want to help when asked. So I think that's anything. So if I think our best monthly newsletter, I've been asked to communicate more. Our best monthly newsletter is our once monthly meeting. It is the second Monday of every month at 7 p.m. However, in April, we went to the Tuesday because of the eclipse. We have no idea how downtown will be bogged or not. We hope everyone's visiting all the proprietorships downtown, and maybe it'd be tough to do that day. So we did in April shift to Tuesday the 10th, I believe, or 9th. But otherwise, it's the second Monday of every month. Please come to those meetings, and if you do have something that you would like to discuss or that is not on the agenda is posted to the newspaper. Please call the office and have it put on the agenda, or have your name put on there as someone who would like to speak. Otherwise, hey, I blab on and on and on, and I share everything unless it's personnel related. So there are no secrets. If you come here, that'll be the best communication you could ever have. So please, I would like to see this place a little more full. The last thing I would say is on this video, please show some civility, ask some questions, and raise concerns. That's fine. If you're not helpful, if you're harmful, please refrain. And I hope that we will get a lot more engagement, some positive reviews out of this. I believe we've made the right decision on a lot of these things. The DRI can't say whether the LPC has made any right decisions yet because that'll be down the road. But anything you've heard on the DRI is likely not true because nothing is done yet. The committee has not been chosen. The committee has not been made public. The projects are not chosen. The projects that were presented in the paper were the projects that won us the application, but that is not how the process works at all. Geneva, Seneca Falls, Newark, Penn Yan have all won the DRI. I'm actually kind of thankful that we didn't win it so early. Now we have examples of what to do and what not to do, and I think we would be better off for it in talking with the people involved in those. So I thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.